So it is my last video of 2016. Happy New Year, everyone! Today's video is going to be the 16 books that I read in 2016. So for those of you who don't know, I set a Goodreads goal of the number that the year is, so it's 2016. I set myself a goal of 16 books to read in 2016. I'm a rather slow reader, so that's why my goal is so much smaller than other people's. I know many people do like 100 books or 50 books. Well, I'm a very slow reader, so when it comes to reading 100 books for me, that'd be too crazy. So next year will be 17. Before I start telling you about the 16 books that I read in 2016, I wanted to show you guys my last bookish purchase of the year because I bought these yesterday and I'm very excited about them and I wanted to show you guys them. So if you like my videos, please click the subscribe button down below and let me know that you really like me. Comment down below what books you read for 2016 and which one was your favorite. I really want to know what book was your favorite book of 2016. So let's get to the video. So the two reasons that I wanted to go to Barnes & Noble yesterday was to buy these two coloring books. Yes, I bought two coloring books and I am a almost 20-year-old adult, but I wanted to show you guys the coloring books that I bought because the first one is the Selection Coloring Book by Miss Kira Cass. The Selection series is by Kira Cass. The coloring book isn't by her, but it's this beautiful, oh my god, coloring book of the story of the Selection series, and I just cannot wait to color these. Oh my god, Maxim and America are like literally my favorite. I want to reread that series right now. It's just so good. If you guys have never read the Selection series, definitely go pick it up. It's one of my favorite series that I've read so far. Here's all five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 5 books in the series, but then they have Happily Ever After, which is the novellas. I forget about the novellas, but definitely go pick up the series if you've never read it. It's so good. And the last coloring book that I bought yesterday was the Lunar Chronicles series by Marissa Meyer. So this is a coloring book that follows the Lunar Chronicles series, and it's so pretty and it tells you like little bits of the story while you're coloring it. Here's the books if you don't know what they look like. This is also a really good series. I have one more book to read in it. All I have to read is Winter and Stars Above and Ferris, but those are really tiny little novellas, so really only have one to complete the series, but I do have these two to read left. But I picked this up and the Selection series because I'm a grown adult who wants to color, and this is socially acceptable for me to color this. So to tell you the 16 books that I read in 2016, I'm going to go down the list of my least favorite to my most favorite. So the first one that I'll show you will be my least favorite one that I read of the year, and that is The Winter's Curse by Marie Grotowski. I know this series is a lot of people's favorites, but I just couldn't get into it. It put me to sleep many times, and I don't know, it's just all the war tactics behind it and all the political things just didn't keep my interest. So I will hopefully one day finish the series because I own all 3 books. But right now in my life, I don't want to pick this up anytime soon. I enjoyed the story of Kestrel and Aaron, but when you started talking about her dad and the war and all that stuff, it just lost me. I've never been a history buff. I've never been into politics and all that. So this, it was okay. It was okay. If you like politics and history and all that, this will be your cup of tea. But for someone who isn't very interested in that like me, think about it before you pick it up. But I mean, I can't complain about having these books on my shelf because they're so freaking stunning. I love these book covers so much, and their cover redos, they make me so mad. They piss me off, and don't even get me started on that. So the next book on my list is The Isle of the Lost by Melissa de la Cruz. I am a massive fan of the Descendants movie, and I wanted to read this novel, so I did, and it's, you know, meant for a younger audience, so it wasn't higher up on my list. It was a good book. It's the story of the kids before the Descendants movie, so it's the story of how they all met and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was good. If you are in middle school or maybe like a beginning high schooler, this would be a good book for you, but it's okay. It was okay. The next book on my list is PSI Like You by Casey West. This one, I enjoyed the plot line, the initial story of this book. I enjoyed the idea of it, but the writing style is what bumped it lower on the list for me. It was very childish at times, and there were things that were said that didn't need to be said, and there were many more chapters than there actually needed to be, and it didn't make its way higher on the list for reasons like that. It was good if you enjoy simplistic writing more so. I would say pick this up if you are a freshman in high school or a sophomore in high school, pick this up. Or if you're just in high school period, you could pick this up and you probably really enjoy it. It takes place in high school, so that would be your kind of cup of tea. Yeah, if you like this kind of stuff, pick this up. The next book on my list is Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. This is the third book in the Anna and the French Kiss series. I read all 3 this year, which the next 2 I will talk about later. But my least favorite one in the series was Isla and the Happily Ever After. Isla and Josh's story just wasn't my favorite of the 3. They were okay. They weren't my favorite characters in all the books. I still enjoyed their story, but I enjoyed the other 2 a little bit more. The next book in the series is the last book that I read in 2016, and that is Broken Hearts, Fences, and Other Things to Mend by Katie Finn, aka Morgan Matson. So if you don't know who Katie Finn is, or if you don't know who Morgan Matson is, they're the same person. This book, it follows teenagers in high school again, and it was okay. I had issues with it, and I may do a book review on it because I just finished it like a day or so ago, and I'm on the second book in the series. I may do a book review on it. You'll know in the future if a book review does ever show up on this, but it was good enough that it made me want to continue on with the series to find out what will happen next, but I don't think it needed to be continued. Like, there were parts in this that could have just ended where the book ended and didn't need to go on to 2 more extra books in the end of that series. But once I finish the second book, I'll let you know if it's really, really worth the read. The next book on my list is Billy and Me by Giovanna Fletcher. I absolutely adore Giovanna Fletcher. I watch her YouTube channel. I am obsessed with her children. They are the cutest little things ever. Her husband, don't get me started on Tom. I love Tom. His band, I really, really am obsessed with this family. So going into reading Giovanna's book, I was like really excited. I was like, yeah, Giovanna, she's a writer. Let me read her book. And I've been dying to read her book for the longest time. And I finally read Billy and Me, and her writing, I thought her writing was going to be better. I won't lie. I thought her writing was going to be better. I really enjoyed what the story was about. I enjoyed that Sophie was the character that she was, and I loved the whole filming and movie aspect of this book, and that Billy is an actor, and when their lives collide, Sophie is thrown into the filmmaking world, and I really enjoyed that because I love like behind the scenes of movies and on sets and stuff like that. So I enjoyed the storyline of this book, but some of her writing just didn't do it for me. Some things were said that didn't need to be said. I'm basically saying the same things for most of these lower on my list books because their writing just didn't really do it for me. I liked the story and the plot of the book more than the actual writing, and if the writing isn't good but the story is good, it's gonna be harder for me to really, really like this book, because if I'm having a hard time reading your writing style, it's gonna take me longer to get through the book, which I'm not gonna enjoy it as much. And that was one of the cases with this. I do want to read the rest of her books though, because I did enjoy the story of this book, but I wish her writing was a little bit different. It felt like it was again for a lower class, even though Sophie in the book is like, I think she's like in her late 20s, her maybe early 30s, but I think like the middle, late 20s, I think she is. And I feel like for a character that's that old, the writing needed to be a little bit more mature, maybe? Is that the right word that I'm looking for? But I did enjoy the book nonetheless. The next book on my list is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. This is the first book in the Anna and the French Kiss series. This book follows Anna and Etienne St. Clair, and it's their journey in France. And it was okay. My biggest reason why I don't like this book is the character of Etienne. I know that's a stupid reason not to like a book, but Etienne just really bugged me. It was very annoying at times, and he made me not like this book as much as so many people are like, oh my god, Etienne, he's so cute. Like, he's such a big head and full of himself. How do you guys like him as a character that much? I didn't understand the hype behind Etienne, but I did enjoy them in the last 2 books. Like, these characters in this series, they move on to the next books. So I did like that part of it, and I did like the characters, but in this book, Etienne was just so full of himself, I could not deal. The next book in my series is Cress by Marissa Meyer from the Lunar Chronicle series. This is the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicle series, and I know this is a lot of people's favorite book from the series, but not for me. I don't know why that is exactly, but this book for me just didn't make it higher than Scarlet and Cinder, because there were certain parts in this book that just dragged on too much for me, and they could have been finished in a few more chapters, a few less chapters than they were finished in. It just took me a long time to get through. Just little things like that. Nothing wrong with the writing in this book at all. I absolutely love Marissa Meyer's writing. I can't wait to finish this series. It's just being in the Lunar Chronicles world too long was starting to drive me crazy a little bit, and this was the last book that I read before I need to finish the series, so I think that's why this one's a little bit lower for me. Nothing against the writing, nothing against the characters, just being stuck in that world for too long really started to get to me, and I was just not feeling it in this book. But there were things that happened in this book, and I was like, oh my god. So, if you've never read the Lunar Chronicle series, I highly suggest that you pick it up and read it, because the 3 books that I have read of it so far have been awesome. Absolutely awesome. The next book in my list is Scarlet by Marissa Meyer, and it is also in the Lunar Chronicle series. This is the 2nd book. I enjoyed this book just a little bit more than Cinder, just for reasons, I guess. I think what it is I like it when the series have less of point of views that I have to read about. So this one, I just had to read from Cinder, Kai, Wolf, Scarlet, Lavina. That might have been like all the point of views that you read for. I think that's what I'm learning as I'm talking through these videos. I think that's what I'm learning about myself is I don't like reading from too many different points of views. So like in Cress, they added 2 more additional points of views than there was in Scarlet. So it was too many things to keep track of in Cress, and that's one reason why I'm worried about really getting into Winter, because you got Winter and Jace and all these new characters I have to worry about while I'm still reading about what everyone else is doing, and I think that's too much for my little brain. And I guess that's another reason why I've never read like the Mortal Instruments series, because that's so many books, so many different people to keep worried about. That's why I like my plain old simple contemporaries that I can just joyously read throughout my day. So the next book on my list is Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins. I really loved Clark. Not even Lola. Lola got on my nerves a little bit sometimes, but The Boy Next Door is my favorite thing in this book. I absolutely adored Clark. His name is Cricket, y'all, not Clark. Different book, not Clark. Cricket. I really enjoyed Cricket in this book. I don't know why. Just after I read this, I could not stop thinking about Cricket. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. So lame. But for the reason of Cricket, this was my favorite book in the Anna and the French Kiss series. Writing in these books are phenomenal. The characters are great, except for Etienne. So if you have not read Anna and the French Kiss series, I highly suggest that you pick this up as well. The next book in my list is The Crown by Kira Cass. This is the final book in the selection series, and it's like a finger width wide. Kira, why is this book so short? This book didn't make it higher on my list because it was so rushed. It just, everything happened and it just finished, and you were like, wait, slow down, slow down, slow down. Let me enjoy the final book, Kira Cass. It felt like she just wrote it just to get it finished with, just to be out of the selection world. And I was like, Kira, why? Why did you do this to me? I did enjoy it though, and it's higher in my list than other books in my list because I just love the selection series so much. That series is really what got me into reading again and got me onto YouTube, making videos for you guys. So I owe a lot to this series, but it's just Edelin's a little bitch. That's another reason why I didn't make it higher in my list, because Edelin's an annoying little prick, but it's just, it felt rushed, Kira, and I'm really sad about that. I love Kira Cass's writing so much. I just love Kira Cass as a human being. I follow her on social media everywhere, and her tweets are so relatable, and I just adore Kira Cass so much. That might be another reason why that book is a little bit higher in my list, but nonetheless, you need to go read the Selection series. We're on to the top 5 books, that I read in 2016. Number 5 is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is the first book in the Lunar Chronicle series. I adore Cinder so much. I just really love her as a character. I love all her cyborgness, her robot hand, her robot foot, her brain that she has, like, the computer in her brain. It's just, y'all, you need to go read the Lunar Chronicle series. I have nothing more to say than go read this series. It's so good, so worth it. Yes, the books get bigger as the series goes on, because Winter is like 800 plus pages, which is blowing my mind, and that's another reason why I haven't yet to finish it. But go read this series. You won't regret it. It's so good, and I can't wait to finish it, because I've heard it gets better as you read on in Winter. I need to finish it. I know I need to finish it. Number 4 is The Unexcited Everything by Miss Morgan Matson. This is the second book that I have read by Morgan Matson, and I absolutely loved Amy and Roger's Epic Detour. I absolutely loved The Unexpected Everything. Clark. This is the book that has Clark in it. Remember when I said Clark for Lola and the Boy Next Door? No. This one has Clark. I am obsessed with Clark's character. Like, how do I find a real life boy that is exactly like Clark? Like, exactly like Clark. Clark writes his own books. He's the author. And I'm just like, Clark, come to life for me. Clark, come to life for me. This book, it was just so good. Y'all need to just go read this book. And it's wonderful. It's so pretty. It's so cute. And it's such a big book. But it's so worth it. Go read this. Go read all of Morgan Matson's books. You will not regret reading Morgan's work. It's so good. Bum-ba-la, we've hit the top 3. We've hit the top 3. We've hit the top 3. Number 3 is Until Friday Night by Abby Glines, or Gleans. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but I'm absolutely obsessed with this book. Don't know why, but I'm obsessed with this book. This book follows Maggie and West. Maggie is a mute girl. She doesn't want to talk to anyone because of certain tragic events that happened in her life a few years ago. She has not talked to anyone since those events have happened. Wes is your typical high school jock who is basically screwing every girl in the school, and he's going through his own issues at home, and no one knows about them except for him and his mom and his dad. And Maggie comes into Wes's life, and Wes comes into Maggie's life, and they help each other out, and it's such a beautiful story. Even though Wes's character can be such an aggravating little prick at times, you learn to look over that, and you learn to love them too, and you learn that when you finish this book, you won't stop thinking about it for a few weeks. I finished this book, and the next day I had to order the second book immediately, which took 3 weeks to come in, which is absolutely ridiculous, but I finally got it. But you guys, go read this book. It's so good. I promise you won't regret reading this one. So worth your time. Go pick this up, read it, love it, enjoy it with me. Come talk to me about this book, because I need to talk to people about this book. Number 2, The Siren by Kira Cass. I had the pleasure of meeting Kira Cass last January, so almost a whole entire year since I have met her, and it was for her book launch of The Siren, which, fun fact, she actually got this book republished. She had originally published it, self-published, a few years ago, like a really long time ago, and it just, no one bought it, and then she wrote her first book for the Selection series, and that took off, and then she got the opportunity to rewrite this book, and you all need to go read this book because it was absolutely beautiful and so fun and so good. It follows our main character, Kaylin, she's basically a mermaid. She's a siren. They're called sirens, but I say she's basically a mermaid because she's a girl who can breathe underwater. But she's basically a mermaid. So it's her with like 3 or 4 other girls, and they're a group of sirens, and if they talk, their voice will kill you. So then she meets a boy, a human boy named Kinley, and if she talks to him, she'll kill him. And it's basically her life struggles of meeting a Kinley, not being able to talk to him, killing people with her voice. It's just so beautiful. You guys need to go read this book. Enjoy every word of it. It's not that long. It's a little bit longer than The Crown, but go read Kara Cass's work. All of her books are so good. Just go read it, enjoy it. I can't wait for her next book. I don't know when that will be. I don't know what that will be, but I just can't wait for it. I'm so ready for another Kara Cass book. And the #1 book that I read this year in 2016 is Even If the Sky Falls by Mia Garcia. I think this is my favorite book, not only because of this stunning book cover. I mean, look at this, okay? Look at this. Look at this. But I think it's my favorite book because it takes place in New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans, and a hurricane takes place in this book. And living through hurricanes throughout my 19, almost 20 years of life, I can sympathize with these characters a lot and understand what they go through toward the end of this book. So this book follows our main character, Julie, through her quest through New Orleans. She is with her church group building houses for families who have lost their house due to other hurricanes. And one day she's like, I'm tired of this, and she just ups and leaves the group and just like starts wandering around New Orleans by herself. And she ends up in Midsummer Mardi Gras, and she's decked out in glitter and feathers, and she finds this boy from this little like band, and they are so cute. And I just want you all to go read this book. I have heard nobody talk about this book on BookTube, and I just need you all to go read it because it was so good. So good. Just please, if you have any interest in New Orleans at all, like this talks about so many things in New Orleans. It's pretty cool. Like I kind of want to go to New Orleans one day and just go to all the places that they go to in this book and be like, oh my god. And be the lame touristy person that I am. Yeah. That's me. I'm that lame touristy person who does things like that. It's my life. But this was my #1 book that I read in 2016, and you all need to go read it and love it with me and come talk to me about it because it's so good. And it's not that big. It's a really short book. It's a really quick read. Just go read it. Love it. Tell Mia Garcia we want more books that are written in New Orleans because I love reading books about cities that I've been to or cities that I live in. So that's a little bit of a reason why it's my #1 book, but I really did enjoy that book a lot. So that was the 16 books that I read in 2016. Leave me a comment down below, like I said in the beginning of this video, of what books you read in 2016 and what was your #1 book that you read in 2016. I really want to know. I love hearing from you guys. Have a happy new year, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!